So in the mid-2050s, there was some sort of disease that hit the U.S. hard. Tore into the U.S., really. They called it the New Plague. Terrible thing. Say it pretty much split people open. A lot of sweating, a lot of swelling. Randomly bleeding out of nowhere. Real end of days stuff, you know. Now everyone already knows about the New Plague. Everything about that. But what they don't tell you is that back in the early 2050s, something showed up. Wasn't a virus, wasn't a person. No other way to put it, but this thing from kinda outside just wandered in. I know what you're thinking, from outside of where? Just outside, you know? Now, it didn't make a sound, no crash site, no warning, it just kinda was there. Somewhere remote, quiet. People think it started in the mountains, maybe in some caves. Some people camping. They got exposed to it and didn't even know. They took it home with them. That rot? Disease? Whatever you want to call it. Back to their families, their towns. And whatever it was, it grew. And it changed them. Mutated them. Plants started acting weird, animals too. Like the world around this thing was just shifting. Just being near it was enough for this to happen. And anomaly, maybe alien, maybe something worse. Didn't infect the way a normal virus did. It rewrote things. Passed its DNA between anything it can come in contact with without even touching it. Anything it came in contact with, anything, was mutated almost instantly. And that's what the New Plague was. People changing too quick for their bodies to handle, ripping them apart. The New Plague in all its glory. Now, if you know the stories of the New Plague, you know it disappeared as quick as it showed up. You may wonder if that thing was out there. How'd this just disappear? Well, government actually did something good for once. And looked into where the New Plague actually came from. And they found it. They found this thing, this outsider, this visitor, whatever you want to call it. Maybe they had to fight it and catch it. Maybe it didn't resist. Hell, maybe it couldn't even have moved at all. Doesn't matter. They locked it away, someplace deep and dark, away from everything, to make sure it couldn't infect anyone else. And that, my friends, was the beginning of the end. At least that's what I think. Because instead of just destroying the damn thing, they decided to study it. They wanted to understand how it changed things to make sure it couldn't change anything anymore. And that's when they started this program called the Pan-Immunity Viron Project. They took samples from the thing through automated systems. They tried to make an immunity, a cure, a vaccine, whatever you want to call it, to what this thing could do. It didn't work quite right for them. So they decided to let it change a virus to see if they could take what they needed from this thing and make something that could help people, make them immune to it. Not just it, but all disease. The road to hell's paved with good intentions, you know. And the government's, well, the fucking government. During this fancy little project of theirs, they decided to give the thing a fucking designation. X-001. There's a dash in there somewhere. Can't be bothered with that. They were able to change this virus that they wanted to use to make people immune to disease. And it worked. It worked somewhat. Sure, that's where the first ghouls came from. There. First things immune to disease and radiation. Didn't look good, though. Can't slap that as a cure and get that out there for people. No one would take it. The other way it went was making people bigger, stupider, greener, more dangerous, more violent. Now, seeing this, the government's curiosity was piqued. After all, there was a war that was on, and they needed soldiers. Not just any soldiers, they wanted super soldiers. Now, here's my personal thought. When the FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus, was finally kicked up a notch and fueled by the government wanted soldiers, big, strong soldiers, to drop anywhere to fight. These soldiers, of course, would need armor and weapons that suit their new stature. So, if memory serves me correctly, in 2065, what we know as power armor was developed. Giant suits of armor people could wear, keep them protected, damn near indestructible. Funny thing about power armor is, power source they all use wasn't developed until a year later. Maybe they were projects that worked on in tandem. But to me it seems like they wanted very large soldiers to put this armor on so they wouldn't need a power source for it. That's just me thinking, though. Now back to this thing that started all this. X-001. After vault-tec did its thing, working with Pan Immunity Viron Project and then the FEV, they still understood this thing was too dangerous to just keep somewhere. This outsider. So they decided to give it its own room, so to speak. They built a vault for the damn thing. Put it in cryostasis, locked it away to make sure nothing could touch it. But we all know the vaults were never meant to save anyone, so when the bombs fell, they decided wouldn't be much left to lose if they just let people experiment on it at that point. So they did. That was the entire premise of that fucking vault. Have people work on the thing, test on it, see what they could find out about it. But they weren't stupid. Crazy, sure. Stupid, no. Anyone even thought to have been in contact with the damn thing was disposed of. Completely destroyed, done away with, incinerated, I'm sure. Only the automated systems could handle the thing. Now maybe it's still locked away there in Vault 96. Maybe the scientists actually grew some fucking brains and destroyed the thing. Maybe it can't be destroyed. Maybe it's still sleeping there. I don't know. What I do know is not too long after, a certain scientist with a VR fascination came out with a strange device, said to help rebuild the world should the world end. Maybe they made it to terraform other planets, I have no idea. What I do know about this fancy Garden of Eden creation kit is that it was set to fix, rebuild, and yet it was only supposed to be the size of a briefcase. I don't know about you, but soil samples, water samples, air samples, uncorrupted DNA sequences, seeds, saplings, whatever they say is inside the damn thing, that's all too much to fit into a small briefcase. So what I think the Garden of Eden creation kit actually is most likely a stabilized strain of X-001. Maybe they figured it out. Maybe the government didn't care at that point. Maybe that briefcase, all it does is it has a saved copy of what things are supposed to be in it. And when used, this thing is set free to change everything it comes in contact with. Comes in contact with irradiated, sun-bleached, destroyed Earth. It changes it. And everything in it to be good, fertile dirt. Good, fertile soil. Comes in contact with an old burned-out husk of a tree, and it changes it back into a nice evergreen pine tree. Comes in contact with water, cleans it, and the microbiome therein. And then maybe a Brahmin drinks it. Maybe it doesn't change the Brahmin directly. But its offspring would most likely be a normal cow again. It's a strange thing. In the Garden of Eden in a briefcase. Maybe it was made to fix the world after then. Maybe it was made for other planets. Hell, maybe it was aliens the whole time. I don't know. What I do know is vault-tec never wanted to actually save anyone. If they did and they had this type of tech on hand, why didn't they use it then, you know? Why didn't they use the Garden of Eden creation kits back then? Must have been a reason. Something holding them back. Constraints of some kind. I feel like if they would have told people that whatever the fuck caused the new plague was how these fancy kits worked, no one would have supported it. None at all. But that's just me thinking about the strange things there are out there. The strange things the government kept from you. Kept from me. Kept from us all, really. Anyway, I think that's enough of this for now. I'll see y'all later. Now, I hope that fancy little story time thing wasn't too bad. Now, if you want the the theory without the story here, my theory, because I've been reading around through updates and stuff to Fallout 76. I try to keep up with it. I own the game, and I fucking spent money on it. I might as well keep up with it, see if it got any better. Once they allow full private servers that we can mod, I'll be all over that game again. Instead of, needing to pay to fucking rent a server from them. Anyway, the actual theory is there's Vault 96 in the Appalachian Mountains down that way. And in this vault, there's a specimen locked away. People refer to it as Specimen X-001. It says pretty much that it's highly mutagenev. Whatever. Mutates everything it comes in contact with. So much so that the automated systems are the only ones that can handle it, right? Now, we know West-Tec is connected to it, and a dude from West-Tec, after the bombs fell, finds his way to the vault to continue FEV research, because I'm guessing there's FEV there. But this thing is also here, so kind of connecting the dots here. If there's a thing locked away in cryostasis, and it mutates everything it comes in contact with, even shit that's not touching one another, means it's transmitted through the air, right? And then FEV, made by West-Tec, came from the Pan-Immunity Viron project, which was made to combat the new plague. There's already weird Lovecraftian shit going on in 76 anyway, more so than other games. If memory serves me right, you can actually find like a dead old one or some shit in a cave. Real weird. Pretty neat though. You got some weird Lovecraftian cosmic horror shit in Fallout 4 and even Fallout 3. No idea if there's anything like that in Fallout New Vegas. Haven't really looked. Anyway, yeah, I think one of these things, these visitors, these interlopers, these outsiders, whatever you want to call it, just kind of bled into reality, exposed people to itself, and it changed them, it corrupted them, it twisted them, and yeah, people spread it across the world, or at least across the United States. The government figured it out, they contained it, they locked it away. So the overall timeline I'm going to give to you here is in the early 2050s, this thing, X-001, kind of showed up. I'm going to say somewhere in Appalachia. You know, there's hiking trails, there's camping, there's a lot to be done there. It's also where it's permanently locked away now, so it makes sense they wouldn't try to transport the damn thing too far. They find it. It's a cosmic entity, so I'm guessing it probably doesn't even understand what the fuck is going on. So they just kind of lock it away, experiment on it, realize it can mutate shit, try to make a cure for itself. You know, because this would have been the mid-2050s at this point. New plagues all over the place, trying to find a cure for it. New plague kind of dies off when all the people infected with it die off. And then it's gone. Government locks it away. Nothing to worry about now. It's all good. Wanted to make a cure to this thing just in case it ever kicked up another new plague. Couldn't quite figure it out. Couldn't get it to mesh correctly without splitting people apart. So they try a different vector of infection through a virus. They expose a virus to it, probably multiple viruses over a long period of time, to try to find one that has the same properties of X-001, but was more containable, and as such created the precursor to the FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus at that point, which would make sense, in my book anyway. After that, you know, like I said, road to hell is paved with good intentions. Starts off trying to find a cure to the new plague, and then, well, maybe we can cure everything. And then, well, we can't really figure out why it does what it does, but we can kind of steer it in certain directions. And one of those directions is a hulking beast that we can kind of control, or at the very least contain until we can drop off in an area that we need destroyed anyway. So, you know, it makes sense to me, this series of events, especially since the new plague really isn't talked about after the 2050s. I understand Fallout Van Buren was supposed to hint on this a lot with like a precursor, with the new plague popping back up again in wherever the fuck that was supposed to be set. So I get it was supposed to be a pivotal part of Fallout going later on. It also explains why there's a bunch of weird shit running around in the Appalachian Mountains in Fallout 76, and all that shit just kind of died off later on, right? Like, I get Dr. What's-His-Fuck there in 86 is pretty much making super mutants with FEV. But there's all that other random shit, and then the Mothmen and the Cosmic Horrors and the Interlopers, and it makes sense to me, anyway, that that's how all this went down, kind of panned out. So, yeah, anyway, that's my theory. Some weird cosmic thing kind of bled into our reality, caused the new plague, the government found the thing, locked it away, tried to make a cure for the new plague, ended up fucking things 9 ways to Sunday and making the FEV in the process. Anyway, thanks for watching. Also, since I didn't do this in the beginning of the video, I'll do it here. If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit subscribe. Stay up to date on when I post. I also got memberships, and I guess super thanks are a thing there. So if you want to buy me a coffee, go ahead. I'll appreciate it. Also, a thanks to my member, Eric Hewitt, for being a member here for like the last couple of weeks. Means a lot. Thanks again for that. With that, I'm gonna probably figure out what game I'm gonna do a run in next and what I'm gonna do in it. Anyway, see you later. Hope you had fun with this one. Because this was a fun little theory I figured I'd toss together. You know, not too many people theory crafting nowadays, which is kind of weird. Kind of sad, too. I mean, worst that can happen is I'm proven wrong. In which case, cool, more content came out for the games. Alright, later.